And on business news, federal government to deduct 3.6 trillion naira from federation accounts to fund electricity subsidies. I bring you details of this and others when we return on the business segment of the news. I am Olayemi Takuro. Stay with us.
On sports news tonight, IOSA President Kastei Coventry says Russia could be at 2028 Los Angeles Olympic Games. Listen more coming your way on the sports segment of the news. I am Emmanuel Dasaudo. Stay with us.
5 decades of excellence, hard work, integrity, and passion. 50 her teachers to Ogun State. You can watch us live on Facebook at OGTV and Ogun State Television, YouTube at OGTV Abeokuta, and on OGTV website www.ogtv.com.ng/live. For the latest news and report, check us on these platforms: X at Ogun TV, Instagram at Ogun State Television, or download OGTV app on Apple Store and Google Play stores. Ogun State Governor Prince Dakpo Abiodun has reaffirmed his commitment to fulfilling promises made to the people, emphasizing justice, fairness, and equity in the governance of the state. He stated this at the state banquet in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the state held at Arcade Ground, Okimoso, Abeokuta. Governor's office correspondent Yusuf Ghani report.
The state banquet was another convergence of the beauty and the depth of the gifts and resources of the Gateway State. The event aptly celebrated the achievements recorded by the state over the years. Governor Dakpo Abiodun thanked all sons and daughters of the state for their contributions and for joining hands with him in building the future of the state. While reaffirming that the Gateway State has achieved a high level of prominence, Abiodun appreciates President Bola Tinubu for his support to the state.
I remember when I assumed office, that day on the 29th of May 2019, where we had lofty dreams and ideas, but the reality was very far from the dreams that we had. But together, slowly and surely, we began to walk our talk, to make promises and keep those promises. From the nooks and crannies of Ogun West to Ogun East to Ogun Central, Ogun State has now occupied its pride of place in the Committee of States, not just in Nigeria, but across the entire world. I was telling Professor Yemi Oshibagi, I said today, there's a renewed sense of state pride. People call it country pride, but there's a renewed sense of state pride. You see people wear Adire with so much grace and passion. Adire has gone beyond the shores of Nigeria. It is being displayed in different fashion shows all over the world, and people are proud to identify with our state.
The state deputy governor, Engineer Nohimot Salakoyedele, equally assures people of the state that the current administration will continue to work day and night to ensure that the state is better, stronger, and more prosperous.
His Excellency Prince Dakpo Abiodun, CON, was handed the baton of leadership in 2019. He inherited the responsibility of building upon the work of those who had gone before him. Drawing from the depth of talent of men and women across the state, he assembled this executive council, a team of committed men and women united by a sense of duty and a shared resolve to serve. Together, we were tasked and we have executed to the glory of God his clear vision, one that is focused on progress, inclusion, and sustainable development of all parts of our state.
Former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says the event is not just a celebration of 50 years, but a celebration of years of excellence.
And I want us to really thank God for all that God has done for us all of these 50 years. But I want to congratulate especially this very, very lucky gentleman standing next to me. our own dear governor, the governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun. And I want to say that he has many achievements, very many. But what I personally feel most satisfied with are the big things, because the big things are the ones that will make a difference. We now have one of the most vibrant special economic zones, a free trade zone of our own. We have a cargo airport of our own. Not just any cargo airport, because there are so many people who say they have cargo airports. A functional, game-changing cargo airport.
In their separate remarks, Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Oludaisi Elemide, and Chief Judge of the State, Honorable Justice Mosumola Dipeolu, pledged their support and cooperation to the governor, saying it is only in an atmosphere of peace that development can thrive.
We can see what God is doing through you. We can feel it. We can see it. We can touch it. We can walk on it. Ride on. You will continue to succeed. You will continue to succeed. And at the House of Assembly, we have given you this solidarity and the support and the cooperation. We will not stop giving you that.
Within these 50 years, we thank God that the State Judiciary has really moved in leaps and bounds. To the glory of God, we are all alive to celebrate this milestone. And in celebrating, we are celebrating our resilience, our intellect, our industry, our heritage, and enduring unity.
Cutting off the state's 50th anniversary cake wrapped up the occasion. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
Meanwhile, the state banquet brought together past and present leaders, lawmakers, traditional rulers, and other distinguished guests to reflect on 50 years of governance and development. The colorful ceremony held at the arcade ground of the governor's office, Okimoso Abeokuta, celebrated the contributions of former leaders to the growth of the Gateway State with cultural displays, musical performances, and a renewed commitment to the state's future. Minga Dekuya's report is presented in this package.
The Golden Jubilee State Banquet, held inside a specially designed marquee at the arcade ground of the Ogun State Governor's Office, Okimoso Abeokuta, was tastefully decorated with historical photographs of former governors of Ogun State in recognition of their contributions to the growth and development of the Gateway State since its creation in 1976. The chairman of the Ogun Arts 50 Organizing Committee, who also doubles as a secretary to the state government, Tokunbo Talabi, welcomes guests to the special banquet.
And be in a celebration mood, because God has done well for us. It is our prayers that we will continue to be the MP of other states, and that as this process starts, it will mark a new beginning.
As Ogun State marks 50 years, speakers describe the moment as one for reflection, gratitude, honesty, and renewed purpose.
Today we are celebrating 50 years anniversary of this same state. The question we want to ask is that, has there been development in Ogun State? The answer is yes, yes, and yes.
Ogun State created 50 years ago of just to emphasize what had been there all along. We did not become #1 state in education in Nigeria.
You have created a lot of encouragement for all industrialists. And that is one of the things that we cherish in your administration.
Speaking on behalf of former deputy governors, Alhaji Shefiu Adigbenga Kaka, a former deputy governor and one-time senator, flanked by two other former deputy governors, commends the progress recorded by the state over the decade.
We remember today the former governors and the former deputy governors that are passed on, but their memories linger on because they perform exceptionally well.
7 members of the Green and Red Chambers of the National Assembly also speaks glowingly about Ogun State at 50, applauding its steady growth and future prospect.
History will be kind to you. Ogun at 50, we have a Gateway International Airport. Ogun at 50, we are declared an oil-producing state. Ogun at 50, agro-allied business is growing stronger. Ogun at 50, our economy is standing on a very strong footing. Sons and daughters of Ogun State, that we have come this far. Ogun at 50. Congratulations, Your Excellency. Congratulations, all the sons and daughters of Ogun State.
Entertainment comes from 2 notable indigenous musicians, Akbala music legend Al-Aji Musiliu Aruna Ishola and Fuji maestro Adewale Ayuba, who thrills guests at the milestone celebration. A colorful display by the Ogun State Cultural Troupe added glamour to the event. A toast to Ogun State at 50, alongside the cutting of the anniversary cake, rounds off the celebration.
The Ogun State Governor, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, says the administration has effectively sustained the legacies of the state map when he became governor in May 2019. He said it was a conscious responsibility for his administration to do, bearing in mind the place of the state in the socio-economic trajectory of the nation. Governor Abiodun stated this in a special broadcast commemorating the 50th anniversary of the creation of the state.
When we assumed office, we did so fully conscious of our responsibility to preserve this legacy while preparing Ogun State for the future. Infrastructure has remained a priority, with over 1,600 kilometers of roads constructed or rehabilitated across local government areas. Our Gateway International Airport is completed, certified and operational, connecting Ogun to the rest of the world and serving as a catalyst for investment, logistics, and export-driven growth. Complementary projects such as the Kajola and Ijebu inland dry ports and plans for the deep sea port further strengthen our economic outlook.
In addition to this, Governor Abiodun said the current administration has delivered measurable progress that continues to improve the quality of lives of the people.
Funded significantly, with our GDP estimated at 17 trillion naira and our internally generated revenue from about 52 billion in the year 2020 to approximately 250 billion naira by the end of year 2025. In healthcare, education, housing, power, security, agriculture, and social empowerment, our administration has delivered measurable progress that continues to improve the quality of life of our people. While we celebrate these achievements, recognize that the work continues, I urge all citizens to remain united, vigilant, and cooperative.
Governor Abiodun acknowledged the role and the impact of his predecessors in the journey of the state to attaining 50 years of existence, describing their contributions as quintessential. Meanwhile, the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the creation of Ogun State moves to the streets tomorrow, Thursday, 5th of February, with a cultural carnival float in Abeokuta, the state capital. The float will take off from Isalegbe to the MKO Abiola Sports Arena, where Governor Dakwa Abiodun will be on the ground to receive the floats from the 20 local government areas in the state and several groups at 9 in the morning through Omida Lalubu Road. Residents of the states are free to join the float as it passes through the straits to give the cultural carnival a colorful spectacle. The roads on which the cultural carnival float will move, according to the State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Agency, TRACE, will be temporarily shut from vehicular movement. TRACE advises the general public to take note of these and make use of road diversions for the event. In a related development, spaces at the MK Abiola Sport Arena has been undergoing temporary transformation ahead of the street carnival. Various art and cultural designs and constructions now adorn the venue in preparation for the show. The atmosphere has been prepared to receive the cultural carnival float by Governor Dakpo Abiodun. The event, according to organizers, promises to be a fitting convergence for residents, especially use of the climate of the cultural carnival float. Still ahead, INEC assures Nigerians of readiness for 2027 polls. We'll bring you details of this and more after the break. Please stay with us.
The celebration of the 50th anniversary of the creation of Ogun State shifts gear to the streets tomorrow, Thursday, 5th of February, 2026, with the Carnival Float taking center stage in Abeokuta. The float will take off from Isalegbey at 9 in the morning through Omida, Lalibu Road to the MK Abiola Sports Arena, where Governor Dakpo Abiodun will be fully on the ground to receive the float from the 20 local government areas in the state and several groups. Residents of Ogun State are free to join the float as it passes through the streets to give the cultural carnival a colorful spectacle. Omo Ogun, Isheya.
You're welcome back. Ogun State, created in 1976 and fondly called the Gateway State, continues to draw spiritual support from diverse faiths as it marks 50th anniversary. As part of activities commemorating the Golden Jubilee, Isheshe worshippers and traditional religion adherents have gathered in Abeokuta to offer special prayers for peace, progress and sustained development in the state. Ogun State Governor Prince Dakpo Abiodun has also been commended for what participants described as deliberate and impactful developmental strides that have repositioned the state economically and socially. Details in this report.
For the 15th consecutive year, Isheshe worshippers and traditional religion adherents in Ogun State converged to offer prayers for the well-being of the state and the success of its leadership. The special Iwure session held at the event ground in Irioni, Abeokuta, is led by the Oba Isheshe Worldwide, Adifagbola Ifarotimi Balogun, as part of activities marking Ogun State at 50. According to the Oba Isheshe, the unity and consistency of prayers among adherents of the Isheshe religion have contributed significantly to the peace, progress, and steady development recorded in the state over the years. He expresses appreciation to Governor Dakpo Abiodun for what he describes as his mother's touch and grand strides, noting that the administration's policies have placed Ogun State on the national and continental spotlight.
We have a responsibility to pray for the peace and progress of Ogun State as it celebrates 50 years.
Also speaking at the event, the Elake and Paramount ruler of Egbaland, represented by the Olu of Utorioke, Oba Muslim Olupede, commends the Isheshe worshippers for sustaining love and unity among themselves. He urges them to remain steadfast in prayers for the continued growth and prosperity of the state, especially as it celebrates its Golden Jubilee. In her opening remarks, the Elu Tuwashe of Odiremo, Chief Lola Ajin Ayoride, praised for Ogun State to remain in the limelight, while other dignitaries described the annual prayer session as a laudable initiative worthy of emulation.
We are here to acknowledge the contribution of a number of governors, military and civilian. We are also here to acknowledge the hard work of Oba Adimabola.
We commend Ogun State Governor for the opportunity being given to Isheshe worshippers.
The event also features cultural displays, performances by the traditional worshippers, as well as special prayers for the leadership of the state, alongside free medical checkups for residents in attendance.
Ogun State remains one of Nigeria's most resource-rich agricultural zones, blessed with fertile land and favorable climate. The state is known as a leading producer of cassava, maize, rice, cocoa, oil palm, kola nut, cashew, vegetables, and livestock on a commercial scale. Ogun State agricultural output feeds both local industries and urban market, reinforce the national food security and agro-industrial value chains. The report by Binga Adeko x-rays the remarkable steps of the Gateway State in its 50 years of existence in this sector.
Before the creation of Ogun State in 1976, the area, which was part of the old Western region and later the Western State, already featured a robust government-driven agricultural scheme based on farm settlement and large-scale plantations, mostly established between 1959 and in the early 1960s under the leadership of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. These initiatives were aimed at modernizing agriculture, curbing rural-urban migration, boosting cash crop production, and tackling food insecurity. Upon its creation in 1976, the state keyed into the growth enhancement scheme of the defunct Western government across all its geopolitical zones with proper maintenance and a whole lot of initiatives. Ogun State, no doubt, holds a significant position in Nigerian agriculture, particularly as a rising hub for large-scale rice production and a major producer of cassava, with strategic government initiatives driving growth in rice, cassava, oil palm, cocoa, and livestock, aiming for value addition, food security, and modernization through programs like special agro-industrial processing zones and World Bank support, powered by the Prince Dapo Abiodun-led government.
One of the programs we saw was the Anchor Borers program. We looked at that program and we said, how do we key into it? And the CBN opens its doors to us. It allows for we as a state, being an agrarian state, with over 12,000 square kilometers of arable land, to provide land for intending agripreneurs, we call them, those that want to be entrepreneurs in the area of agriculture. So you can imagine the multiplier effect of this and the impact in terms of wealth creation, job creation, reduction in crime.
The Anchor Borers schemes in the state has nurtured over 40,000 agripreneurs, thus placing the state as one of the food baskets of the nation. A strong analysis of the state agricultural production indicate that Ogun State has competitive advantages in the cultivation of food crops, proximity to Lagos, the industrial and commercial capital of Nigeria, and by extension Africa, with a population of over 20 million people, relatively stronger purchasing power and international presence, strategically places Ogun State in a very vantage position for agricultural investment, value chain development, and produce export.
Our focal crops are cassava, maize, and soya beans. In that value chain, we have cleared over 9,000 hectares of land for 27,000 smallholder farmers in Ogun State under the OGTV program. Apart from clearing this land, it was cleared at a discount. Farmers only had to pay 35%, and the state government bore the cost for 65% land clearing. We also gave them 50% discount when it came to their cassava stem, herbicide, pesticide, and what have you. This is to reduce the production cost of our cassava and maize farmers in Ogun State. We also have rice production. We have a lot of rice production clusters in Obafemi local government. This program has been able to intervene in the affairs of over 30,000 farmers.
Realizing the strength of the state to play significant roles in closing food production gaps and saving the economy of the country from collapse and the foreign exchange crisis associated with food importation, the Dapo Abiodun-led government has a focus on the sector as a pillar on which the economy of the state could solidly rest.
We have been able to organize our farmers. We have been able to put them together in groups and clusters. We have been able to register them. So they have extension officers designated to each of those clusters. They go there from time to time to find out what their needs are. We have done an infrastructure need assessment of all those clusters. The farmers themselves told the state government what they require to make their businesses thrive. And all those are being done to ensure that there is abundance in food productivity, and also the level of farmers is increased upon. So their margin of profitability is much higher. However, the cost in the market is much lower because most of that productivity has been subsidized by the state government.
Recently, in a bold push to reposition agriculture as a major economic driver, the Ogun State government again launched a sweeping mechanization and youth inclusion strategy aimed at boosting food production, strengthening agribusiness, and guaranteeing food security across the state.
We know our farmers are through Ogun State Farmers Information Management System, 2, extensive and field capacity building program for a lot of our farmers, over 40,000 of them in the past 2 years. 3, input support. 4, we have been rehabilitating all processing facilities across the length and breadth of Ogun State. 5, we are matching our farmers to off-takers. We have bought over 40 tractors to enhance land preparation, and these tractors have been given discount to our farmers.
Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun also received significant recognition for his contribution to agriculture, notably the Governor of the Year Award in Agriculture at the 2020 Nigeria Agriculture Award for transforming Ogun into an agro-industrial hub, creating an investment-friendly environment and supporting farmers through various initiatives like input distribution, land prep for youth, and strategic partnerships. He was equally honored at the Feed Nigeria Summit in Abuja, emphasizing a paradigm shift towards agribusiness and private sector collaboration, including developing special agro-industrial processing zone. The moribund inherited farm settlement across the state are also witnessing the Yellow Roof initiative of the Prince Dapo Abiodun administration, with the construction of poultry pens, fish processing centers, and storage warehouses to improve processing, storage, and value addition. With all these achievements and effort being put in place, it is safe to say Ogun State in the last 50 years has contributed immensely to the growth of agriculture in Nigeria and has formed a major part in restoring the nation's lost glory in the area of agriculture, which was the mainstay of the nation's economy before the discovery of crude oil.
The Federal Ministry of Livestock Development has announced its commitment to collaborate with World Bank Group and the African Development Bank, AFDB, to address climate change challenges affecting Nigeria's livestock sector. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Chinyere Ijeoma Akujobi, made this known during a meeting with a delegation from the two banks in Abuja. She said the partnership aims to unlock opportunities for sustainable growth and resilience in the industry and that the collaboration is strategic in realizing the ministry's strategic goals. Akujabi pointed out that despite its importance, the sector is highly vulnerable to climate variability and change, outlining its implications for animal health, productivity, and greenhouse gas emissions, while emphasizing the urgency of robust policies and reliable data to address the impact of climate change. The Director, Technical and Team Lead of the Technical Working Group on Climate Change, Dr. Alike Peter, explained that these realities underscore the need for evidence-based policies and coordinated national action to drive climate-smart livestock development. The Senate has urged Nigerians, particularly Katsina communities, to remain united and vigilant amid worsening insecurity, warning against internal collaborators undermining national security. Lawmakers cautioned that individuals aiming or shielding criminals pose grave threat to peace, stability, and effective security operations across affected communities. The call followed a point of order raised by Senator Muntari Dutse during plenary. Moving the motion, Dutse decried recent horrific attacks on Nigerian police mobile force officers ambushed in broad daylight at the Guga Bakori local government area. He said 3 police personnel were killed, while 2 others sustained critical injuries during the ambush. Dutse added that as of February 3, at least 35 people were killed across Funtua zone in multiple attacks within 2 weeks. The senator warned that persistent banditry was crippling agriculture, noting that over 50,000 farmlands were currently uncultivated. In his remarks, Senate President Godswill Akpabio urged the exploration of sophisticated drones for vast terrains and assured lawmakers that the military would be favored in the 2026 budget. He also tasked the National Orientation Agency to intensify public sensitization, urging citizens to report suspicious activities promptly. Meanwhile, the Senate has expressed deep concern over the worsening security situation in Katsina State, particularly in the Funtua zone, following fresh bandit attacks that reportedly claim no fewer than 35 lives within 24 hours across 3 local government areas. The development came as lawmakers urged President Bola Tinubu to urgently fulfill his promise to establish a military barracks in the area, while cautioning against any form of negotiation with armed groups terrorizing rural communities. The matter was raised through a motion of urgent public importance under Order 42, sponsored by Senator Dutse Muhammad, calling for immediate and comprehensive federal intervention to halt the escalating violence. Ruling on the motion, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, admitted it for debate after it received overwhelming support from senators. Akpabio acknowledged the anger and frustration of lawmakers over the continued insecurity across the country, assuring that the National Assembly will prioritize increased funding for the military in the 2026 budget. He also warned against collaboration with criminals, stressing that intelligence leaks from within communities often undermine security operations. The Independent National Electoral Commission has assured Nigerians of its full readiness for the 2027 general elections despite delays in the passage of the amended Electoral Act at the National Assembly. INEC Chairman Professor Josh Amukuton stated this at the Commission's first quarterly consultative meeting with civil society organizations in Abuja. The Commission said it has already finalized its election timetable and schedule of activities in line with existing legal provisions. Amukuton explained that while INEC has submitted its recommendations to the National Assembly, the timing and content of the amended Act would affect some aspects of the election schedule. At the meeting, the INEC chairman also called on CSO to intensify efforts to mobilize residents of the Federal Capital Territory to collect their permanent voter cards ahead of the area council elections scheduled for Saturday, February 21, 2026. Beyond PVC collection, Amukutan urged CSOs to help monitor political parties' conduct during campaigns and promote peaceful participation. The National and State House of Assembly Election Tribunal sitting at Iyaganku, Ibadan, has dismissed the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its candidate challenging the outcome of the Kene Shagamu Remo Federal Constituency by-election held in August 2025. The tribunal consequently affirmed the victory of the All Progressives Congress APC candidate, Honorable Adeshola Elegbeji. In its ruling, the tribunal upheld the preliminary objections raised by Professor Taiwo Oshipiton, SAN, counsel to Elegbeji, and Dr. Bremi Ola Tubora, SAN, counsel to the APC, who argued that the petition was technically incompetent. The senior advocates had urged the tribunal to strike out key portions of the petition on the grounds that the petitioners failed to specifically name individuals alleged to have snatched ballot papers and ballot boxes across 576 polling units. They maintained that allegations of criminal acts must be clearly pleaded with identities of those involved and evidence linking them to the respondent. Upholding the objections, the tribunal rules that allegations of ballot snatching and hijacking are serious criminal crimes and claims that cannot be established without identifying the perpetrators and proving their connection to Honorable Elegbeji and the APC. The tribunal struck out the affected paragraphs of the petition, describing them as legally defective and incapable of sustaining the claims. Consequently, the tribunal dismissed the petition in its entirety for lack of merit and affirmed Honorable Adeshola Elegbeji as the duly elected representative of the Kene Shagamu Remo Federal Constituency. All is set for the 15th edition of the Gateway International Trade Fair in Abeokuta as members of the Ogun State Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture embark on roadshow to raise awareness and bring business owners to the center stage of trading. The trade fair is expected to draw investors, captains of industries, among others, to one of the biggest trade fair shows in Nigeria. Details of this report is presented in this package.
In less than 48 hours, the 15th International Trade Fair will commence at the MKO Abiola Trade Fair Complex in Abeokuta. The trade fair, which will commence on Friday, 6 February, will feature exhibition of different products from top manufacturing companies and young entrepreneurs in and outside Ogun State. The team from Ogun Sima, during the awareness exercise, visited the state and federal secretariats, Kuto, Omida, Itoku, and Shakmo markets. Other areas visited include Itaoshi, Ibara, and Okelewo. The State Commissioner for Industry, Trade and Investment, Adebola Shofela, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, explained the importance of the International Trade Fair. According to him, the state government's drive to make the state more attractive to investors will continue to boost with this annual event.
I've left the far back position. We are in front now, and that is why the government in place is doing everything humanly possible to make sure that the state creates the enabling business environment for industries, for investment to thrive. And that's why we are calling on investors world over. Ogun State is the place to be. They should all come in their numbers. They should come with the foreign direct investment. And I can assure them that they will not regret this, because the government, beyond securing their investment in the state, is making everything possible for them.
The president of Ogun Sima, alongside the chairman of the local organizing committee of the 2026 Trade Fair, explained that the 11-day trade exhibition is an avenue to connect, collaborate, and grow businesses in the state.
We are expecting a larger number of exhibitors, companies around Ogun State. As you know that Ogun State is now the industrial hub of Nigeria.
It's going to be a very good opportunity for everybody. The MSMEs too will be here. and the small businesses, very nano and small-scale business owners.
The trade fair will end on Monday, 16th of February 2026.
The celebration of the 50th anniversary of the creation of Ogun State shifts gear to the streets tomorrow, Thursday, 5th of February 2026, with the Carnival float taking center stage in Abeokuta. The float will take off from Isalegbey at 9 in the morning through Omida, Lalubu Road to the MK Abiola Sports Arena, where Governor Abiodun will be fully on the ground to receive the float from the 20 local government areas in the state and several groups. Residents of Ogun State are free to join the float as it passes through the streets to give the cultural carnival a colorful spectacle. Omo Ogun, Isheya.
Àjọ̀dún ìdásílẹ̀ àádọ́ta ọdún ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ń tẹ̀síwájú pẹ̀lú onírànràn ayẹyẹ lọ́jọ́ àlàmísì ọjọ́ karùn-ún oṣù kejì ọdún yìí ní pẹlẹbọmọ àrà míì yóò tún sọlẹ̀ níbi tí àwọn ọmọ bíbí ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn yóò ti máa fi ìdùnnú wa hàn pẹ̀lú ṣíṣe àríyá káàkiri ojú pópónà ìlú Abẹ́òkúta èyí tí ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti Ìsàlẹ̀gbìn lọ sí Omidá pópónà Lálùbú títí yóò fi dé MKO Abiola Sport Arena níbi tí gómìnà olóríire ọmọọba Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún yóò ti máa kí wa káàbọ̀. Gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ló lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ àti kópa. A kú oríire o, àjọ̀dún àádọ́ta ọdún ìdásílẹ̀ ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn. Ọmọ Ògùn, iṣẹ́ yá.
Business news is next when we return. Please stay with us.
Thank you for joining us on Business News. The federal government has proposed a 3.6 trillion naira deduction from the Federation account to fund electricity subsidies in 2026, 2027 and 2028, a move designed to distribute the financial burden across federal, state and local governments. The move represents a decisive step by the federal government to confront the rapidly mounting electricity subsidy debt, which has severely constrained liquidity across the power sector, while also strengthening fiscal transparency by making subsidy obligations explicit and better accounted for. The reduction proposal, detailed in the medium-term expenditure framework fiscal strategy paper for 2026 to 2028, analyzed, reflects a strategic shift towards distributing the financial burden of the power sector across all tiers of government amid growing concerns over unsustainable debt and systemic inefficiencies. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Hedikin Lukobiri, has stated that Nigeria achieved a major investment breakthrough in 2025 with the signing of 28 new field development plans valued at $18.2 billion, which carry an estimated production potential of 1.4 billion barrels of oil. Lukobiri disclosed this in Abuja while delivering his ministerial address at the opening ceremony of the 9th Nigeria International Energy Summit 2026, saying Nigeria has emerged as Africa's leading destination for oil and gas investment, with 4 of the 7 major final investment decisions announced across the continent between 2024 and 2025 taken in the country. According to the minister, the development was not accidental, but the outcome of the deliberate reforms, improved policy clarity and stronger governance, which have helped to restore investor confidence in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bayo Ojulari, has disclosed that Nigeria's state-owned refineries were operating at a monumental loss to the country, prompting his leadership team to halt operations to prevent further value erosion. Ojulari disclosed this in Abuja during a fireside chat titled Securing Nigeria's Energy Future at the Nigeria International Energy Summit 2026, where he offered rare insight into the commercial and operational realities confronting NNPC's refining assets. According to him, public anger over the refineries was justified given the scale of public funds invested over the years and the high expectations placed on the facilities. He admitted that upon assuming office, refining was not his core area of expertise, having spent most of his career in the upstream sector, but said accountability demanded rapid learning. And that ends business news. Many thanks for watching.
Thank you, Olayemi, for the business updates. Now to the reference, New Zealand will increase its adult minimum wage to $23.95 from April 1, 2026, lifting hourly pay for workers nationwide following the government annual minimum wage review. Meanwhile, the European Union countries have sealed deal on 90 billion euros loan for Ukraine, funded through joint desk. Under the loan, Ukraine will receive 30 billion euros to support its budgetary needs and 60 billion euros to purchase weapons and ammunition.